levels to that. There's lots of different levels to it, but it's not really acceptable to have women scooping in the streets when we're talking about women's safety and lighting up public buildings when we can't give them somewhere to go and use a toilet. So I would ask you to seriously consider where we go with that. We still have in Salisbury one of the most, I'd probably say the best pub watch in the country. It's very robust. They work very closely together. They work closely with a lot of the partners, from the council to CCTV to licensing to police, military police. So we meet once a month, and I'm only a guest, but because of the views that we have, and where we just tell them as it is, whether that's right or wrong. We can only witness it as we see it. And so I speak at every single pub watch every week. So those who are inside venues have an idea of what's happening outside their venues. And the third thing that ASA asked me to address was how we organise our finances. We spend about £20,000 a year to train a street pastor and put them on the street. Costs us around £300. Every street pastor has to go through 50 hours of training. We then have to purchase a uniform for them that costs about £100. And then our affiliation and our licensing fees, which are through the Ascension Trust, but to the Home Office, costs us about £3,000 a year. Our income is currently about £15,000, and that is purely by donations. So donations that come through churches, but as you can imagine, churches have less finances post-COVID than they had pre-COVID. So we also get money from grants, but the last 2 years, we've run at a £5,000 deficit. So we don't have much in the bank, but at any one time, we've got money coming in because individuals, churches, businesses are sponsoring us. So if anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer those. And if anybody wants the newsletter, which has the reports of what happens on the streets, then please just give me a phone call, drop me a WhatsApp or a text, and I will put you on the distribution list. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. A couple of things I'd like to say first. Thank you for your very detailed report and feedback on what's happening in the city when most of us are not around. We're sort of safely tucked up in bed. Some of the points you raised will be clearly valid when we come to discuss the issue of toilets and the issue of funding. I mean, there may be avenues to explore there that we might be able to support you with, but obviously, if you're receiving donations, we'll be looking to try and, if we can, support that. One thing I did want to say is personally, I find it very reassuring that we have a physical presence in the street at those times of the night when people are vulnerable. And the other thing is, probably the most successful things you do are not heard of because you prevent things from happening. So it's really hard to fully appreciate the impact of that presence in the city, but certainly it is a great benefit to the city that we have that sort of level of support for young people and, well, all people, as we've just heard, who may find themselves in difficulty late at night and there's nobody around to help them. Can I open up to anybody else who'd like to ask questions or make comments? Councillor Rogers.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I just want to say huge thank you for the work that our street pastors do. Um, I was part of the area board in 2009 when we gave you an initial grant. I think Brian was there as well. And part of that, I didn't get, I wouldn't say dragged out. I got asked to come out and take part in the work that you do. So I handed out a few flip-flops and some bottles of water. You are kind, caring people with tons and tons of patience, absolute patience. How you can put up with the sometimes abuse, sometimes a bit of physical battering. I think you do a wonderful job in a calm, I knew it wasn't for me, but the way you do it in a calm, collected manner, talking to people, friendly, down to earth, you do a wonderful job. So, I think we all ought to recognise that.
Thank you. Councillor Nettle.
Thank you, Chair. Brian, thank you. I'll just echo what's just been said by Councillor Rogers. I think there's a lot of things that you do, your group do, that we don't know about. And I think there is a need for an organisation as yours at that time. Anecdotally, I've had parents write to me about their daughter not being able to get home in a taxi because the taxi won't take them, unless it's over £10. And there's all kinds of safety issues around that. I know also when I did work in the NHS, there was a massive plan here during New Year's Eve so that people didn't have to go up to A&E, and that there was a minor surgery unit here. So first Defender in Salisbury. And I think these are projects that absolutely should be shouted from the rooftop, because you do an amazing thing. And I'd just like to say big thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dalton.
Chairman, thank you. Brian, very passionate, I think, on your presentation to us. So thank you for that. And I remember what Ricky's just said about when you came to the area board, and I would encourage you as a group to come to a future area board as well and apply for a grant. I can go back slightly further than that and I know it was on Salisbury District Council's City Area Committee, I think, and I've forgotten his surname, which is dreadful, the late Vicar Andy at Bemerton Heath.
Yeah.
What was his surname? Was it?
I
Bell?
don't know.
Was
I
it?
started in 2011, so
It was
I
before
wasn't
then.
actually there when they set up. It was set up by a guy
So
called...
both he and David Durlston Baker, I think it is, approached, Andy Bell, I think it was Bell, I think, wasn't it? But I can't remember. So he approached me about could they come and do a presentation to the council, which obviously I encouraged him to do. And they were a great act between them when they were trying to sell us the street pastors, and ultimately after money, of course, in the end, which is what they got. And I can't believe, I think you said that was 16 years ago, but I know it was on the Salisbury District Council. I'm pleased that we were sort of part of that to help kick you off. And I know if Andy was still here today, he'd probably still be part of that.
Thank you. Councillor Rimmer.
Thank you very much. Echo what everyone else has said. Thank you very much for everything that you do. It's a great thing, and it really needs to happen. So it's brilliant. It was just interesting to pick up on what you were saying about the toilets closing, which I think most people in Salisbury agree was not a good thing to have happened, and the fact that we're still in a situation without a provision for them really isn't great. I just wanted to ask, before that decision was taken, were you or your team consulted on what sort of impact it might have on people in Salisbury?
I heard from New Year's Eve, we have always, one of the suicide attempts that we found probably 7-8 years ago was a young lady who slashed her wrists down in the underground ladies' toilets. So every Saturday night, without fail, our street pastors will go down the ladies' and the gents' toilets to make sure that there isn't any problems down there, whether that's people who are needing assistance, whether there's drug dealing, whether, whatever the problem is. So I wrote to ASA in January complaining about the state of the toilets on New Year's Eve, because they weren't as you would probably want them to be for a city. And it was at that point that ASA told me that they were due to close. Subsequently, on the second Thursday in January, I went to Pub Watch and asked a question about the situation, and there wasn't a pub in town who was aware that the toilets were going to close. And that's when it sort of hit the fan, so to speak. And there were a lot of very angry publicans, some who I believe made representation to the council in January. But that was the timeline. But in terms of any discussion, as far as I know, they certainly weren't discussed with street pastors. And as far as I know, they weren't discussed with any of the publicans prior to that event.
Thank you. We have a point of information from the CEO with regard to the comments.
Thank you, Chair. Just to state that all legal obligations of this council were met in the publicisation of the proposed budgets in terms of both the opposition's and the administration's budgets at the time. I'm also pleased to acknowledge that in the last budget, the administration increased the amount of finance that was to be included on engagement. But I do note the comments, they are not untrue, but what I am saying is all legal obligations were met.
Okay, and just moving on, if we could confine any further questions about the toilets to item 25, and we will be discussing it at length. And I have a question, Councillor Hock.
Thank you, Chairman. I echo all the councillors said. Brian, I think one of the things is I found you are very approachable, and the way you are under your leadership, a lot of people find it very comforting. I've heard good thing about you, and I think because of you, I think it will expand more. Anything that we can do, I'm more than happy to. And also, if you can advise me, if young people wants to come and join you on a Saturday or a Friday night, what would be the best thing to do? Because I'm sure a lot of people would want to, because you are very approachable, and I think I wholeheartedly applaud what you do.
Thank you, Councillor Corbyn.
Thank you. I know we used to have the purple flag, and I think the street pastors tied in with that nicely, didn't they? Because all the businesses were more involved, and there was a lot more going on around it, but we haven't got purple flag status anymore. And it's a real shame, because I think there was a benefit to that. And I don't know whether we can reignite that. So is there any way we could look at whether purple flag still exists in the format it was, if there's funding streams that can be attracted to assist? Yeah,
I think the two issues about purple flags, that we were delighted to get purple flag status in 2012. We held it for, I think, 6 years, maybe 7 years. We were one of the longest cities in the country to hold purple flag. The couple of issues with it was, it took an awful lot of work for somebody to go through the KPIs and to get everything, all the ducks in one line. And there was also a financial element over who paid for the submission to purple flag. If you don't know what purple flag is, basically, if you go to a beach and it's a blue flag, then it's a place of safety. If you've got a green flag, it's for environmental safety. So we were very, very proud that Salisbury had a purple flag, which meant it was a safe place to come out at night. As an aside, when we put our submission in 2012, there were 26 places that were awarded purple flag, and every single one of them had a street pastor patrol in their city, which was a good part of that. But it was a very robust sort of. We'd have a visit from 2 people, often licensing officers, who would come and examine everything from the entertainment in town, the historic things in town, as well as the safety. So yeah, it's a real shame that we don't have purple flag. It's one of those things that, in terms of tourism, purple flag ticks all the boxes, because it says to people, you want a safe night out, then go somewhere where there's a purple flag. But it is an awful lot of work, and it costs a fair amount of money to do that.
Brian, thank you. I believe we have some information about what you've just mentioned. But what I would like to say is that as mayor, I see it as my responsibility, or one of my responsibilities, to raise the profile of really positive public services. And if you contact me, I will try and fix a point in my calendar when I'm not doing too much the following morning, and spend some time out with you on the street to see how it operates, because I certainly haven't done that, but I think I need to experience that sort of environment that you work in. And I'm sure if we've raised the publicity, it's reassuring for the public generally to know how successful it is in keeping people safe. But thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you very much. And that invitation goes out to all councillors. I know Councillor Rogers said he was dragged out, but we don't need to drag you out. But if you want to come and see what your city is like for half of the day, when you probably don't actually come out at that sort of time, it's a very different world in a very different demographic who are visiting your city. So I extend that to all of you, and to Councillor Rogers if you'd like to be dragged again. That is because somebody donates these flip-flops just on a cost thing. They're donated to us. So thank you very much. Thanks for
Okay,
your
thank you
time.
very much,
Thanks
Brian.
for listening.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is nominations for outside representatives. Janine, I believe you're going to lead on this one.
Good evening. So as you can see, we have a list of outside bodies that we'd like to try and have representatives at. That's councillor representatives. So now we're in a new municipal year, similar to committees. We like to confirm who those outside representatives are. So I'd suggest that if the chairman's happy to, we'd go through each one at a time. Councillors could nominate themselves if they wish, and then they'd be first and seconded, or if not, people could nominate a fellow councillor to be a representative.
Okay, so assuming we're starting with Wiltshire Creative.
Yes, please. Yeah, the first two were agreed at the last full council.
Do we have any nominations or, oh, goodness me. Councillor Bayliss.
Thank you. I'd like to nominate Councillor Sam Charleston.
Do you have a seconder for that? Any other nominations, Councillor Hocking? And a seconder for Chris? Councillor Nettle. Okay, is that any further nominations? Councillor Podger. And you'd like to nominate yourself? And seconded by Councillor Rogers. So do we have to vote? Oh. Okay, that seems reasonable, don't you? I think that sounds reasonable, Councillor Hocking. So taking in order of nomination, who was the first? Councillor Charleston? 1 minute. Why do you want to put your name forward for this?
Thank you, Chair. I'm not expecting to have to make a pitch, but yeah, no, fair enough. I was the Wiltshire Creative representative previously. I attended many of their meetings. I have relationships with them. My interest in this item stems from the fact that in my previous career, I was a theatre sound engineer. I worked in the theatre for 10 to 15 years, I think. So I know that they appreciated the insight that I was able to bring as both a councillor and as someone who had a foot in their world, I suppose. So yeah, very happy to do it again. Full stop.
Thank you. And who was the next nomination? Councillor Taylor.
I'm not a thespian and I don't have any roots in the theatre. I'm quite excited by what Wiltshire Creative do, not just in the Playhouse and in their theatres, but what they're doing around the community. I'm very impressed by the work they're doing with young people. Their recent presentation to us in the communities group was very impressive. I had a very good meeting with them, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago. They've got very exciting plans to develop their building, to develop that area around the building. And what I'm really excited about is they're now starting to engage with older people. They've realised that they're doing a lot with younger people already, but they realise that older people need their help. And so, you know, establishing confidence and that kind of thing, I'm hoping to get them up to Platinum Skies on Wilton Road. And finally, one of the things I really like is their initiative to help youngsters with their CVs and public speaking. I know how important it is. We're all quite good at public speaking one way or the other in this room. We get lots of practice, but our youngsters don't. And when they go for job interviews, a lot of them don't do very well.
Councillor Taylor.
So that's my pitch. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Podger.
Well, I wasn't expecting to make a pitch, and mine will be much less than 1 minute. I'm not a thespian either, but I have been on the receiving end in my charitable work of the work that Wiltshire Creative have done. I also attend the theatre a lot, so and I have had meetings also. So that's my plea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Nettle.
Sorry, I certainly don't want to be disrespectful to you, but is it a bit of a challenge to be the leader of this council and to be on any of these groups? I just asked that because there will be challenges when we're going through finances, and these organisations, well, this particular organisation receives quite a lot of money from us, and I would hate there not to be any transparency in this, and I'm just trying to protect you rather than anybody else. So I just raised that as a question.
Can I express a personal view on that? My view on that is that any councillor who represents that particular aspect only has one vote when it comes to decision making in whichever context the decisions are being made. I mean, I don't know where we go from here because there's no protocol set for this, as far as I'm aware. Personally, I feel that if a councillor wants to put the name forward, there's no sort of, if we believe there's a conflict of interest, that's another matter altogether. But decisions are not made by individual councillors. So, Councillor Holt.
Thank you, Chairman. I think usually we would say declare of interest. If there's an item like that comes in, that person who is involved, don't vote. Simple as that. That's how I look at it.
Councillor Charleston.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate what you're saying, Councillor Nettle. I don't know if I entirely agree. I don't see a conflict of interest either way, and especially not as a representative to Wiltshire Creative. You know, you attend board meetings. You don't, again, there's no voting in that direction either. I see your point. I don't personally see a conflict, and I think I agree with Attical. If there's anything I felt with a conflict of interest, it would be suitably declared, I suppose. Thank you.
Okay. So do we have to... Oh, Councillor Riddle.
Chairman, if we've got 3 councillors that are genuinely deeply interested in this, I don't see any point in throwing away that interest on the part of any one of them. Is there nothing we can do to get them all involved?
That would affect
It's just, you know, they're lucky to have
that could present an issue if the representative attends a meeting where that is being discussed with other people involved. It might have a sort of a larger representation of councillors at that meeting than will be necessary to get the perspective of the council or to feed back to the council on things which are coming out of any meeting that might involve Wiltshire Creative. So I think one representative is probably the best way of dealing with it.
Just to confirm, apologies, councillors, because I didn't appreciate there perhaps be this many questions. There is only one vacancy, except in those instances where it says 2. They aren't our committees to decide the membership. There is just one vacancy.
Okay, so we now...
Janine, how would you propose that we vote?
I suggest that you vote for each of the nominations made and see who has the most votes.
Okay.
So Janine, do you want to take us through candidate by candidate?
Yes, candidates. So first off, we have Councillor Sam Charleston. We've had a first and second already, so votes. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10. Councillor Chris Taylor.
Councillor Taylor.
3. So that's 4.
Councillor Podger.
Oh, Councillor Podger, yeah. That's 4. So that's
Okay.
Councillor Sam Charleston.
So
Carried.
congratulations, Councillor Charleston. Salisbury Museum, any nominations or volunteers to represent Councillor Foster?
I'd like to nominate myself or volunteer, however we want to define it, please.
And a seconder? Councillor Hott. Any other nominations? Okay. Councillor Foster. The bus partnership, this could attract a bit of interest. Councillor Bolwell.
I have a query with this. I took on the bus partnership 21, and to this date, we've never had a meeting. So if it's going to stay that easy, I'd love to carry on. No, kidding. I am kidding. I am quite happy to stay if everybody else is in agreement with that, purely because I've got a lot of things coming up with the buses.
Okay, so we've got a seconder.
First and second, yeah.
Lots of seconders. Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Congratulations, Councillor Bolwell. You continue to be our representative. Salisbury Conservation Area Appeal. Panel. Why did I say panel? I've got appeals on the nomination.
Councillor Dalton has a...
Yeah, Chair, I was just going to ask, should that be 2 or is it 1? Because I know that Jeremy and Tom sat on it from Salisbury last time. I'm on it from Wiltshire, that's why I asked that.
Okay.
I thought we had confirmed that it was only 1 that was being asked for on this occasion. However, if for belt and braces, I'm quite happy for us to have a second option should full council want that.
Okay, so going back to bus partnership, do we have another nomination?
No, apologies. This is for Chair.
Sorry.
It's for Salisbury Conservation Area Panel.
Oh, right. Okay.
In which case, actually, for clarity, let's just nominate 1 and then I will come back if we need to find a second one. So again,
Right, okay.
nominations Chair for Salisbury Conservation Area Panel.
Councillor Hott. Councillor Nettle has been nominated and seconded. Councillor Taylor.
Okay.
Any other nominations? Okay. Councillor Nettle. Are we nearly there yet? No. Community-led planning representative. Any nominations? Councillor Hock.
Well, my first thought is, what is that?
What, yeah, what is it? Yeah, never heard of it.
Chair, if I may, corporate colleagues, do we have any information on the community-led planning representative or indeed the Environment Action Group? I'm not aware of those two, what those are.
My understanding that those are subgroups that have been set up. Yes, by Wiltshire Council. Sorry, they're all Wiltshire Council groups. Yes.
Do we have any idea what level of commitment is required to that, and where it meets and how often it meets?
I don't, but if there's nobody that would like to nominate themselves or be nominated this evening, I could always find out more information and bring these back to the next committee. If you want to understand the context and the commitment.
Councillor Bayliss would like to speak on this.
For information, I'm the chair of the Environmental Action Group for Wiltshire Council, and I think it meets 4 times a year.
Councillor Riddle.
But I'm quite happy to volunteer for that as vice chair of the Environment Committee.
Okay, a seconder.
Sorry, excuse, Chair. Sorry, what are we? Can we do community led?
Okay, if I can support, Chair, in which case it looks as though the community-led planning representative, we need some further information.
Yep.
And we should bring that back for decision at a later date.
Mhm.
If I may, skip then to the Environment Action Group, as we have the chair in the room who's confirmed it meets 4 times a year. Therefore, we are looking for a representative and a deputy. At the moment, Councillor Riddle has put herself forward as as one of those vacancies.
And do we have a seconder for Councillor Riddle? Councillor Hock, thank you. Are there any other nominations?
Councillor Bolwell has her hand up, Chair.
Councillor Riddle and I have discussed this, and we are happy to do it together if nobody else has an objection. As
I'm getting confused now. We've just had a nomination and a seconder. And
I think I will nominate Councillor Bolwell then, if that makes the
Okay.
procedure
Right,
correct.
so
yeah?
for clarity, for everybody's benefit, Councillor Riddle has self-nominated and Councillor Hock has seconded. Councillor Bolwell has self-nominated and Councillor Riddle has seconded. That would fill both of the vacancies if full council is in agreement for the Environment Action Group. Then, if that's in agreement, there are nods around the room, we would then go back to
Local
LH
highways.
Fink.
Local Highways and Improvement, Footpaths and Improvement Group. Do we have nominations? Councillor Corbyn.
I'll nominate myself.
Do we have a seconder? Several. Councillor Charleston. Any other nominations? Councillor Hock is nominating himself as a deputy. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Podger. Any other nominations? Councillor Hocking.
He's very, he's cyclist friendly and he wants to do quite a lot with the LC whip. So do I have a seconder for Andrew?
Okay. Seconder for that? Councillor Taylor. So we have now...
If I may, Chair, so we have, as if my memory recalls, we now have Councillor Suddards on the table, Councillor Hock on the table
as deputy.
And we have Councillor Corbyn.
So Councillor Corbyn, you're putting your name forward as a representative, correct? And that's been seconded.
Okay, Councillor Dalton has a...
Can I ask a question first? When it says rep and deputy, does the deputy attend if the rep can't? Is that what that means?
Good point.
Corporate colleagues, have we got any further information on that?
I believe both members can attend since we've got the 2 listed. Yeah.
Okay. Could I make another nomination, Chair, please? And that's my good colleague next to me, Mac Brown.
And a seconder, Councillor Podger.
Right, so have we got any voting?
So therefore, if I've understood this correctly, and thank you for bearing with us, the results of the Salisbury jury are that we have 4 candidates in effect to vote for. So we have Councillors Suddards, Hock, Corbyn and Brown. Yes, councillor. So yes, does that mean, councillor, that you'd like to withdraw? Because is it that our head of corporate has confirmed that these are both voting positions. So it is not that one attends when the other doesn't. So you are happy to be voted for, councillor? Yep. Janine, how would we like to vote for 4 different candidates?
I think the same as we did earlier. We one at a time. Each councillor at a time. Everybody votes, please.
So forgive me, therefore we would have each councillor would have 2 votes.
If all councillors putting themselves forward for both positions, then yes,
So
we'd have to.
each councillor has 2 votes. You have to pick 2 of these 4 candidates. We will go back and check to make sure everybody has done what they need to. So there are 4 candidates to choose from. We urge each councillor to vote for 2 of those candidates. No more than 2 candidates. Councillor Hock. Councillor, we have now confirmed that there are 2 voting, 2 spots, 2 vacancies. We're appointing 2, and therefore each member present tonight has 2 votes. You have a choice of voting for either Suddards, Hock, Corbyn, or Brown. You have 2 votes available to you. Is that any clearer? Do I need to go through? Leader.
Sorry, would it make sense to go and round the room, each person gives their 2 votes?
No, let's just do it by vote.
I
Let's do it by
don't really
votes.
mind,
Count them,
whichever's
please.
fastest at this
We'll
point.
have a vote and a count. Otherwise, it will get really confusing. Okay, taking Councillor Suddards first.
And apologies for precedence, but we have actually asked candidates previously to speak as to why they might want to. Do you just want to waive that, councillors? Okay. Apologies, precedence, law, stuff like that. In which case, Chair, if I may, Janine, are we going to go for Councillor Suddards voting for first?
Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Okay. Councillor Caroline Corbyn. 2. Can you put your hand high, Caroline? 1, 2,
Hands
3,
high, if we can.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14. Councillor Attical Hock. Votes, please. 1, 2. And Councillor Mac Brown. 1, 2, 10, 11, 12. 12. So
voted more than twice, yes.
So the highest 2 votes is Councillor Caroline Corbyn with 14. So I suggest that she's the representative. And the second highest votes is Councillor Mac Brown with 12. So I propose that he'd be the deputy. Everyone's content?
So to confirm, leader. In which case, as best I see things at the moment, at a later stage, we will bring back a vote on the community-led planning representative. Councillor Dalton.
Chair, thank you for the excruciating pain that we've all just gone through. Can I ask that possibly in the future, I know this item's late, but probably should have gone to council in May and not September, that maybe council group leaders nominate their reps to this as Wiltshire does, and then if there is a vote at the floor, then we just vote on those names rather than the sort of bit of a debacle that we've just endured.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, can we move on now to, sorry, Councillor Charleston.
Yeah, and apologies. I've been led to understand that we also have a representative to the cycling liaison panel. Am I not correct in that?
Apologies, leader. I will have to come back to you on that one.
Thank you. Okay, where are we up to now? Update on outside representatives, from outside representatives. Yeah. Do we have any updates from outside representatives?
I shall relish the opportunity while I'm not overwhelmed by everyone else's reports. So, DIGS volunteers will be hosting a series of drop-in advice centres for sessions for the disabled community. These sessions kick off at 9:30 on the 24th, that's Wednesday coming, at Old Sarum Community Centre. Please see their social media details for further details. They also have a committee meeting coming up on the 24th at 6 p.m. at the Bemerton Heath Centre. Anyone who wishes to become more involved in supporting a disabled community in Salisbury are welcome to attend.
Thank you. Given that we are only just over halfway through the agenda and we've been going for an hour and a half, I suggest we have a 10-minute break, resuming at 8:10. Thank you.
Some stretches.